Welcome. This lesson is the fourth lesson in Unit 1 of second grade reading. Let's begin. Let's review setting. The setting is where and when the story happens. For example, a setting can be on a farm in the morning. As you read a story, a realistic fiction story, describe the setting. Tell why the setting is important. Now, let's review our understanding of realistic fiction. So, the genre of realistic fiction includes characters, setting, and events. So, as you talk about realistic fiction, use those words. The setting is where and when the story happens. So, you have become very familiar with setting during this week of lessons. Now, we will practice using text evidence to help us describe the importance of setting in the story. You will need your student workbook for Unit 1 and a pencil. So pause the video to make sure you have your supplies, your student workbook and a pencil. Okay, I hope you have your supplies. The story, How Many Stars in the Sky, starts on page 23. Since you've been reading that, you can probably get to that quickly. You can find on page 43 the graphic organizer we are going to use. So, when we practice finding text evidence, we are going to do an I do, we do, and a you do. The I do will be me showing you how to find text evidence. Then you will do it with me, with the middle part here from the setting, the town. And then on your own, you will work on the setting, the country. So let's begin. Let's start with this setting area right here, outside the boy's house. So if you remember reading in the text, when the boy went outside of his house, on this page, he took a pad and pencil with him. So for this section, I want to write about, is this a good place to see stars outside the boy's house? So I remember that this part right here talks about how the boy went outside, so outside the boy's house. And then for this part, we've also highlighted why it was important part of the setting. So for this part, I would write for the response to this question, is this a good place to see stars? I would write, it's an okay place to see stars, but not the best place. Now I have to prove it with text evidence. I can't just make it up. I got to go back in the text and get evidence. So why was outside the boy's house an okay setting? Look at paragraph 5. It says, but there were lots of stars hidden behind the trees. The house blocked out even more. So now I can answer why. In order to support my answer, is this a good place to see stars outside the boy's house? It is an okay place, but not the best place. And why? Here we go. The stars are hidden behind the house and the trees. There is too much light. So now I have evidence from the text to prove my answer. All right, let's go on and do a we do. Let's go to the next section. We're working on the setting, the town. Now, if you remember on page 29 and 30, the boy couldn't sleep and his dad either, and they went into town. Now, as we look at this, we can remember that the graphic organizer talked about town. We want to be able to find text evidence to prove our answer. So if we've highlighted, look at this. This isn't a good place to see stars. We can go ahead and fill in the rest of our graphic organizer. And why? But it's still too hard. So lots of text evidence to show or to prove our answer. So let's go. The settings, the town, we're doing this together. Is this a good place to see stars? Pause and you think about it. What do you think? Well, it's not a good place to see the stars. Now we need to go back into the text and prove this. Can't just make up something. We have to get our evidence from the text. So we say it's not a good place to see the stars. Why? What do you think? Go back into the text. And you can see we've underlined. This isn't a good place to see the stars. The dad said, it's not a bad place to count them, but it's still too hard. So our answer of why, we're proving it with text evidence from the story. The town has too much light. It was still too hard to see. So now I've shown you how to find text evidence and we've done it together. Now you complete the rest of the graphic organizer. Go back into the text for the setting, the country, and determine, is this a good place to see stars? And whatever answer you have, you write in that section. Go back into the text and tell why. All righty, well done. If you are able, after you have completed this graphic organizer, take a picture of it and send it to your teacher if you can. All right, keep reading.